Wayward Courier, Chapter 9. When it came to, I was in a cell, and they'd taken my helmet, my coat, and my weapons, even the magnet tucked in the back of my pants. Oh, and all my chems and food. I also had a mild hangover and a massive headache from where he kicked me. According to my pit boy, I had a concussion, and I'd say taken 148 rads. As for the cell, well, it was definitely comfortable, as far as cells go. Something you could call a bed, except it was a bit short for me, was on one of the walls. A small bucket, I'm guessing so I could take a shit or something when I needed it. A small window with bars, of course, and they'd left me an apple on the ground, too. Nice of them. So I took the apple and took a look out of the window. Don't know what I expected to see, but what I did set me on edge. There were a bunch of ponies walking around in armor. I showed you the Legate's armor, right? The stuff I took off Lanius? Well, it looked a bit like that. Only a bit. It seemed a lot more decorative, I suppose. Also, the heaven was completely open, and the plume was blue and seemed to run along the body, if that makes sense. Taking a closer look, though, I felt very stupid at what I did. 7 seconds of closer inspection was enough to tell me that they looked nothing like the Legion, and I punched one of them in the throat, after I had cracked a bottle of absinthe over his head. I was especially upset about that. I only got half the bottle when I did. I was actually happy when the sound of someone clearing their throats behind me got my attention. Something to take my mind off what I had done. Princess Celestia was old, there was no denying that. She had seen Equestria rise from 3 tribes squabbling over resources to a proud kingdom that spanned thousands of miles. She had fought the Avatar disharmony, countless demons, even her own sister after an unfortunate demonic possession. She held talks with griffins, minotaurs, buffalo, diamond dogs, and even the elusive sea ponies. So to say that there was something in this castle dungeon that had never been seen before anywhere in Equestria was strange. She was sure at first that it was simply something that had been lost in the midst of time and had only just resurfaced. Her first thought was that maybe it was a flutter pony. She hadn't seen one in centuries. Or perhaps a Grendel. What was in the cell, though, wasn't a flutter pony or a Grendel. It was closer to a minotaur, but the torso was slimmer, bipedal in nature, and wearing much clothing. What little hair she could see atop its head was a gentle brown, messy, and unkempt. Its face had a number of scars, the most notable one that ran from the bottom of the left eye to the top of its lid in a curve. What she noticed most, though, when it turned to face her, were the eyes. They are called the windows to the soul for a good reason. What she felt in the depths of the dull green orbs was something she had never truly expected. Immeasurable pain and suffering, both felt by the creature and inflicted upon others. Deep sorrow and hatred, directed at the same target. A burning desire to do right at any perceived wrongs. Perhaps the most significant, though, was hope, a shining beacon in his heart that guided his actions. A simple look in his eyes told her that there was no one on this world, pony, griffin, or otherwise, who had the slightest idea what he had been through. Not even her. This one, well, it was interesting. A perfectly white coat, a horn that could be used as a weapon without resorting to flash ghoulifying someone, and wings that actually seemed somewhat functional. I didn't see the wings in use, but they certainly seemed that way. The mane and tail, though, they were the interesting parts. They seemed to move on their own, like there was a wind that I couldn't feel. Also, shiny. I also bet if I were to stick my hand in there, I'd immediately absorb a lethal dose of rads. She was wearing a crown and lots of jewelry, and was a lot taller than all the others I'd seen before. I assumed that she was unique, which wasn't exactly the case. Oh, and we talked for a bit. I was in a cell, it's not like I could go anywhere. Greetings, Celeste said cautiously, subtly making her words understandable to all. Nice to meet you, he replied, taking a bite of the apple. Ah, Zebrakin, Celestia thought. That makes things easier. Nice to meet you too, the Alicorn replied cordially. I am Princess Celestia. And I'm the courier. The princess rose an eyebrow. That's more a title than a name, she said, an eyebrow raised. But I'm sure you have your reasons, she added with a smile. He shrugged as he chewed on his apple. I used to be a courier. Kind of stuck. Not that I mind. He swallowed his mouthful and wiped his mouth with his arm. Besides, couriers are the backbone of the Mojave. We make or break towns. He let out a chuckle as he took another bite. You don't mess with the guy who delivers your mail. Celestia decided that statement was far from important and decided to ask something that had worried her. I understand you were brought here for attacking a member of my guard. Before she could get any further, he raised a hand and interrupted her. And I want to apologize for that. I was drunk, and I thought they belonged to Caesar's Legion. Twilight mentioned that you were a soldier, Celestia said quietly. Is that who you were fighting, this Legion? Technically, I'm a civilian contractor. I fought the Legion because they were a fanatic pack of rapists, slavers, and murderers that had united under a single banner and gotten their hands on some powerful weapons. Centuries of practice was the only thing that let Celestia stop herself from showing her fear. They based their armor, structure, and culture on an ancient civilization, right down to treating women as animals and nailing people to crosses. If that is the case, then I am glad that you fought against them, the alabaster alicorn replied, keeping her rage under control. For a matriarchal society like Equestria, the idea of females being treated as anything less than equal was one that had very nearly led to warfare in the past. I've heard that you're responsible for the deaths of 24 diamond dogs. That many? He asked. Thought it was less. Not that it matters. They got what they deserved, he said with a shrug. Celestia was taken back by his brutal honesty, and disregarded. You do not care that you took the lives of those with families? She asked, while the topic would have repulsed any pony else, having lived for who knows how long had the benefits of insulating one from the horrors that could be found in the world. The way I see it, they lost any rights they had to be called people the moment they decided to enslave children, he replied. The hate and anger in his voice was astonishing, so much so that Celestia was tempted there and then to search his soul for any traces of demon akin to the one responsible for the creation of Nightmare Moon. They should be thankful I ended them swiftly. How could you be so comfortable with murdering? Celestia asked. In her long life, she had seen countless vigilantes, and was curious about his reasoning. Murder? He asked. It's not murder when you kill someone so drugged up they don't know what's real. That's mercy. It's not murder when they attack first. That's self-defense. It's not murder when you know they've killed innocents. That's justice. And it's definitely not murder when they're slavers. That's just a service to the world. He finished, locking eyes with the princess. The passion and drive behind his words, as well as the experience she could feel, was more than enough to convince her that he honestly felt that way. I see, she said neutrally. In a carriage of the Friendship Express to Canterlot, 6 men shared a compartment. What do you mean you told the princess he was a psychopath? That's because he is. You saw the way he killed them diamond dogs. He did that to save Applebloom, Sweeterbloom, and Scootaloo. And he saved me from Paramanticores. How could you betray him like that? You said yourself you thought he was gonna kill you. Girls, I'm trying to concentrate. And he threatened me with one of them strange metal weapon things. After you bucked him in the stallion hood? What the hey, AJ? I thought he was gonna hurt Twi. Will you keep it down? A male voice yelled out from the next compartment. Sorry, Twilight yelled back. Great, now look what you've done, she hissed. Me? Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't realize I was the one who brought a mass murderer to Ponyville, the farmer said. He's not a mass murderer! Will you keep it quiet? Exclaimed a mare that was pinker than any living being had the right to be. I'm trying to plan a party. Are you serious, Spanky? You're planning a party for that monster? Shut up or I'll have you all thrown off the train, came the male voice again. Author's notes. Am I rubbing the whole matriarchal society thing a bit too hard? And that is my actual justification for my courier doing in the game. Self-defense, mercy, justice, and service to humanity. For the most part.